Have you ever had one of those moments in a conversation where the hair on the back of your neck just stands up?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. You're talking to a friend or a coworker, and on the surface, everything seems fine. They're smiling.
But your gut is just screaming danger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the gut check. It's that cognitive dissonance where the audio and the video just don't match up. And usually, because we're social creatures, we want to be nice, so we just ignore it. We tell ourselves, oh, I'm just being paranoid.
Or I'm reading too much into this. We override the signal. We focus on the polite smile and just ignore the cold eyes.
But the research we are diving into today, this really raw, almost uncomfortable philosophical audio recording, it argues that you aren't being paranoid at all.
No.
You are actually picking up on a hidden data stream.
Oh.
And if you ignore it, you're doing so at your own peril.
It's a fascinating, if a little bit brutal, breakdown. We are taking a deep dive today into what the source material calls the architecture of truth. And the core premise is, well, it's terrifyingly simple. Truth is almost never served to us raw.
No, it's packaged. It's wrapped up in layers and layers of social conditioning.
And if you don't know how to unwrap it, if you get distracted by the shiny packaging, you are walking through your social life completely blindfolded.
You're missing the actual message people are sending you. The source identifies 3 specific delivery systems that humans use to sort of smuggle truth into a conversation. It calls them the political mask, the Trojan horse, and spiritual warfare.
It sounds like a spy novel, doesn't it?
It really does.
But it's actually a roadmap of your daily interactions.
It is. And the mission for this deep dive is, well, it's practical. We want to help you decode these systems. By the end of this, we want you to be able to stand in front of a smiling friend or a screaming partner and not just react emotionally, but actually read them.
To treat the interaction as data, not just drama. Because that is the big question the source poses. How do we extract value from truth when it comes wrapped in politics or humor or absolute hate?
So let's unpack the first delivery system. The source calls this one friendly advice. But honestly, after listening to this material a few times, I think a better name for it is the polite dismissal.
Or the blush off. Yeah. This is the one we encounter most often, I think, because it's the most socially acceptable.
Right. So set the scene for us here, because I think we've all been on both sides of this, probably without even realizing what we were actually doing.
Well, think about a time you were really struggling, Maybe you're going through a breakup or you're stuck in a career rut. You feel vulnerable. You go to a friend or someone you consider a friend and you pour your heart out. You're looking for support, maybe a little empathy.
You're exposing your neck, essentially.
Exactly. And what do you get back? You get the political mask. They stay calm. They nod at the right times. And then they say something like, well, honestly, I think you should just try doing X.
Or, my advice is to just move on and focus on yourself.
Right.
See, that sounds helpful on the surface. I think you should do X. It sounds like they are solving the problem.
It sounds helpful, but the source argues that the subtext here is actually quite cold. The subtext isn't, I want to solve your problem.
What is that?
The subtext is, I don't want to carry this burden. Please go away.
That is harsh read on friendship. I mean, are we saying all advice is bad?
No, not all advice. But this specific type of friendly advice, it usually happens when the listener is detached. The source explains that the friend is in a bind.
A bind.
Yeah. They don't want to actually help you because that takes effort, it takes emotional bandwidth, but they also can't just say, I don't care, or figure it out yourself.
Because then they look like the villain.
Right. They have to maintain their self-image as a good person. So they reach for the advice tool. It's a strategy. By giving you this generic high-level advice, they effectively close the ticket. They've helped, so now they can exit the conversation without any guilt.
It's like when you call customer service and they just read from a script to get you off the line.
Precisely. There was this analogy in the source material that really stuck with me. It's a bit brutal, but it clarifies this dynamic perfectly.
The beggar on the street analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this part stopped me in my tracks.
So the source compares asking a friend for help to a beggar asking for food. The beggar is starving. They know they need food. And the passerby, the friend, stops and says, hey, you know what you should do? You should go get a job.
Right. There's a hiring sign down the block.
It's technically truth, right? Getting a job would solve the problem.
But in that specific moment, it's not help.
It's an insult.
Why an insult?
Because it assumes the beggar is stupid. It assumes the person doesn't know how the world works. The beggar knows they need a job. The friend who is drowning in a breakup knows they need to move on. They aren't suffering because they lack information. They are suffering because they are drowning.
They need a life preserver, and their friend is standing on the dock, giving them a lecture on the physics of swimming.
Perfectly put. And that's why the source calls this a political mask. It's speculative opinion used as a shield.
A shield.
The friend doesn't actually have authority over your life, but they use this advice to create distance. They are putting up a wall that just looks like a door.
So if we're on the receiving end of this, if we're pouring our heart out and we get the generic advice script back, what's the move? Do we call them out? Do we get mad?
No, you don't get mad. That's the key to this whole philosophy. You take the data.
Okay.
The data tells you this person has reached their limit, or maybe this person isn't as close a friend as I thought. Doesn't mean they're evil people have their own lives and limits, but it means they are currently engaging in a get-out strategy.
So you stop knocking on that door.
You stop knocking. You respect the signal. They are signing off. You need to stop looking to them for the solution.
Okay, that's the first one. The polite dismissal. Now, the second delivery system is a bit more complex. And honestly, I think this is the one most of us are guilty of using.
The Trojan horse.
Or as we usually call it. Just kidding.
Can't you take a joke?
This is where truth gets wrapped in humor to bypass your defenses. And the source makes a really interesting point here. To craft a good joke about someone, you actually need to be pretty smart.
You do. It requires intelligence. To land a joke about someone's flaws, you need wit and you have to be observant. But the core motivation here, and this is what we need to pay attention to, is avoiding accountability.
Right. Because the speaker wants to say the truth. They see something about you, maybe a flaw, a habit, something stupid you did, and they want to point it out. But they are afraid of the ugly outcome.
Truth has consequences. If I look at you and say, dead serious, you are arrogant and it's ruining your career, what happens?
I get defensive, we fight, maybe I stop talking to you. It's a whole thing.
Exactly. It triggers a conflict. And most people are conflict averse. But if I say, oh, look, here comes the king of the world, make way for his highness, and everyone laughs, I've made my point.
You've said the same thing, essentially. You've called me arrogant.
I have, but I've done it in a way that gives me plausible deniability.
Yes.
That is the magic of the Trojan horse. It allows the speaker to retreat if the listener gets upset.
That's the escape hatch. If I get offended by the king of the world comment, you can just pivot.
Whoa, relax. It was just a joke. You're so sensitive. And suddenly you are the problem.
Right.
I'm the fun guy making jokes, and you're the sensitive one who can't take a ribbing.
That is maddeningly effective.
It is. I get to deliver the payload, the truth about your arrogance, but I take zero responsibility for the impact. I shift the burden of the reaction entirely onto you.
The source uses this imagery of the wrapper. The joke is just the packaging. But the candy inside? That's the reality.
And this is the critical takeaway for the listener. We tend to dismiss jokes. We think, oh, they're just messing around.
Yeah, just banter.
And the source is just screaming at us, no, they are not.
It's not random.
It is never random. If your friends constantly joke that you're cheap, or they joke that you're untrustworthy, or that you talk too much, realize that that is their genuine perception of you.
It's a calculated risk on their part. They are testing the waters.
They are signaling a truth they are too cowardly to say to your face without the wrapper. So the advice here is to stop laughing along.
That's the hard part. We usually laugh because we don't want to be the buzzkill. We want to be part of the group.
Right. We collaborate in our own deception. But the source says, stop. Listen to the content of the joke. Strip away the laughter. That is how they see you. It's painful data, but it is accurate data.
Okay, so we have the polite dismissal, which is cold. We have the Trojan horse, which is manipulative. Now we arrive at the third one, and this is the one the source calls the hardest to get through.
This is the realm of hate.
Spiritual warfare. That's the term used in the recording. And it feels heavy.
It fits, though. We're talking about those moments where the social contract completely breaks down. A bad breakup, a family scream fest, a moment of pure rage.
The politeness is gone. The humor is gone, and the other person just goes nuclear. They're saying things specifically designed to hurt you.
Now, there's a very nuanced distinction the source makes here that we have to unpack, because it's easy to misunderstand. The source distinguishes between objective truth and subjective belief.
Break that down, because when someone is screaming that I'm a worthless failure or nobody loves me, that doesn't feel like truth. That feels like abuse.
It is abuse, and objectively, it is usually false. You are not a worthless failure. But And here's the scary part. It is what the attacker believes is effective in that moment.
Effect.
Think about the concept of weaponization. If I want to hurt you physically, I pick up a rock. If I want to hurt you spiritually or emotionally, which is what spiritual warfare is, I have to pick up a concept, an idea, yeah. But I can't just pick up any concept. If I call you a purple hippopotamus, or I scream that you're bad at speaking French, and you don't care about French, it doesn't hurt.
Right.
It just bounces right off you.
It's nonsense.
That's
not a functional weapon.
Exactly. It's a waste of my energy. If I want to hurt you, I have to find something that I believe is real. I have to target what I think is your actual insecurity.
So in that moment of rage, they're essentially scanning their database of me.
Yes. They are scanning for vulnerabilities. They know your history. They know what keeps you up at night. And they select the specific insults that they estimate are functional weapons.
That phrase chills me. Functional weapons.
If they are saying it, it's because they think it's true enough to break you.
The source mentions that this reaction usually comes from weak people.
It does. It's a lack of self-control, absolutely.
Wow.
Strong people regulate their emotions. They don't go nuclear. But here is the bitter pill. Even though the attacker is acting out of weakness, the targeting system is working perfectly.
So even if they are just lashing out because they are out of control, they are revealing where they think I am breakable.
Precisely. They are handing you a map of your own vulnerabilities. It's toxic, and you probably need to cut this person out of your life, but don't throw away the map.
Can you give an example of how this targeting works?
Sure. Let's say in a fight, your partner screams, "You're just like your father."
Oof. Yeah, that cuts deep for a lot of people.
Right. But ask yourself, why did they choose that? Why not, "You're ugly"? Why not, "You're lazy"? They chose "you're like your father" because they believe that that is your deepest fear. They believe that is the truth that has the power to destroy you.
It's not about whether I actually am like my father. It's about the fact that they know I'm terrified of it, and they used it.
Exactly. It reveals their estimation of your weak points. And that is incredibly valuable data, even if it comes wrapped in hate.
Man, this is heavy stuff. We're talking about people dismissing us, laughing at our flaws, targeting our deepest insecurities. It feels a bit overwhelming.
It is.
How do we actually handle this without becoming cynical recluses who trust no one?
It is overwhelming if you take it personally. But the source offers a solution, a philosophy to handle the influx of data without drowning in it.
The ocean in a glass metaphor. I loved this visual.
It's beautiful, isn't it? The speaker says that truth is like an ocean. It's immense, complex, uncontainable. You can't put the whole truth of a human being, your entire life, your value, your complexity, into a single sentence.
So when people talk to us, whether it's advice, jokes, or hate, they aren't giving us the ocean.
No, they are handing you a single glass of water from that ocean, a tiny, unfiltered sample.
And our job isn't to swallow the water.
No, do not drink the water blindly. Your job is to be a scientist. You need to practice emotional detachment.
How do we do that in the heat of the moment, when someone is screaming at us or dismissing us?
You have to adopt a third-person perspective. Imagine you are a movie director watching a scene, or a researcher in a lab observing subjects.
So instead of reacting, I'm observing. I'm just taking notes.
Right. When the friend gives the bad advice, you don't think, "He hates me." You think, "Interesting. He is using the dismissal protocol." When the partner screams the insult, you don't think, "I am worthless." You think, "Interesting. They believe my relationship with my father is my weak point."
You filter the glass of water,
Yeah.
you pour out the poison, the hate, the mockery, and you look for the sediment of truth at the bottom.
And the source promises that this brings freedom. It releases the bondage of the lie.
Because you aren't confused anymore.
Confusion is what hurts. Does he like me? Why did she say that? Is he joking? That ambiguity is torture.
Yeah.
When you can decode the delivery system, the ambiguity vanishes. You know exactly what is happening.
You walk with the truth. You're in control of your reality because you aren't accepting the packaging. You're analyzing the payload.
And honestly, even when it hurts, because realizing your friend thinks you're arrogant does hurt, it is better than the delusion. It's better to see the terrain clearly than to walk off a cliff blindfolded.
Now, before we wrap up, we have to touch on the final section of the source material, because there is a major pivot here. We've been talking entirely about hearing truth, how to receive it, but the source gives a very stern warning about speaking truth.
Oh, yes. The "don't be an idiot" clause.
It's pretty blunt. The speaker basically says, just because you now know how to decode truth Don't go around tearing masks off everyone else.
This is a survival mechanism. The source reminds us that, generally speaking, human beings do not like hearing the raw truth.
We prefer the candy wrapper. We need the wrapper.
We depend on it. The social fabric relies on these little white lies and polite nods. If you go around pointing out everyone's Trojan horses, or telling people, I know you're just giving me political advice to dismiss me, they won't thank you for your insight.
They'll attack you.
They will turn on you immediately. You become a threat to their social safety. You become the villain.
So no being the truth police.
No. The philosophy here is pragmatic. Use the truth for your own navigation. Use it to protect yourself. Use it to help others if it's safe and if they are ready. But don't martyr yourself.
Because the backlash is real. You can lose your job. You can lose friends.
Wield the truth carefully. It's a radioactive substance. It provides power. But if you handle it without gloves, it burns. Be smart about it.
That makes sense. It's about being effective, not just being right.
Exactly.
So let's bring this all home. We've decoded the 3 systems.
The mask, that friendly advice that's really a polite please go away.
Yep.
The wrapper, the joke that hides a harsh reality. And the weapon, the hate that targets your spiritual vulnerabilities.
And the mission for you, listening right now, is to stop reacting to the packaging. Don't get distracted by the smile, the laugh, or the shout. Look at what's inside.
And here is a thought I want to leave you with. It's a question you should ask yourself the next time you feel that gut check we talked about at the beginning.
What's the question?
The next time someone jokes about your biggest insecurity or gives you polite advice when you're clearly drowning, ask yourself this. What does this delivery method tell me about their courage? And what does the content inside tell me about my reality?
Oof. That changes the whole game. It puts the power back in your hands.
It really does.
Start decoding your world, people. It's messy, but it's better than being blind.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.